And we are back. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. And it's not going to happen in this video, but that's okay. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Besh. I'll say what's up to her.
Happy Monday, everybody. I have allergies, so my voice is in and out, but I hope you like, share, and subscribe. Don't be scared.
Yes, like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to both channels because any reviews or recaps I don't cover on my channel, it's because we are on Mrs. Best channels covering those. We have Love and Hip Hop on her channel. We have also Basketball Wives. We have The Valley. We have Real Housewives of Miami. So if you guys are interested in getting our opinions on those exact shows, you'll head over to Mrs. Best channel and click the subscribe button so that way you never miss a beat. And also, we want you guys to subscribe to Shana_MCD's channel. Shana has been on my channel a few times. She is another YouTube content creator who also does these shows. She does Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think she is going to pick up Love and Marriage Huntsville. So we hope that that's what she does here. And, you know, we want her to stay on YouTube. That's the whole purpose. Get eyes on her show. Subscribe. Get her back to monetization where she belongs because she deserves a hell of a lot more than what YouTube is trying to scratch off her list of getting, which is so sad. So they need to take care of us. So until then, we're going to take care of our own here. So subscribe to Shana's channel, show her love, and be sure to tell her James sent you. Hey, Shani, thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much, so much. So I have to do a disclaimer, you guys. So unfortunately, I got injured at work and I'm going to need immediate surgery. So I will be on hiatus from my channel for at least maybe a week or maybe even two. So I will not be on my channel after today, and then after tomorrow, I'll be on Mrs. Best's channel for Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives, and then I won't be on her channel anymore until the next following week. So unfortunately, I hate that this happened to me. And I'm sorry to take away any entertainment that you guys, but I have to get well and I have to do what I have to do. But I promise I will be back nonetheless. So sorry, guys, but I'll be back. You can keep me uplifted in prayer, please. Thank you. It is always appreciated. So, all right. And Mrs. Best just put here, she will be doing Basketball Wives tomorrow, and I will be joining her. So, yes, if you didn't hear the news yesterday, Shani, yes, I had got injured at work. So unfortunately, I have to have immediate surgery. So I will be gone. Yes. That's wrong time, wrong show, but I can't wait to watch it tonight. So here we are with Real Housewives of Atlanta Reunion Part 2. Y'all, this is going to be a very short video because they didn't discuss not a damn thing. So we pick up where the show left off, which is with this versus Angela and Phaedra. Did Phaedra really do it? Angela's pulling out a manila folder that had absolutely nothing in it. All it says is that her brother was Facebook's friends with this gentleman's aunt. Just doesn't prove anything of Phaedra having any type of contact with the man. And Phaedra's had it up to here. So Phaedra grabs Andy's phone and calls her brother and asks him, do you know this lady? He goes, no, I do not know this lady. And Angela was all like, well, it's your brother. Of course he's going to vouch for you. And I agree with that. But at the same time, Angela, that is not proof. That is not proof that Phaedra knows this man. That is not proof of anything. All that says that they have relatives in common, which does not have to have any association anyway. So, and I don't even think that was accurate. But, you know, we'll live to fight another day. But it fell flat. Now, where do I stand with this now that Angela's receipts fell flat? I didn't need Angela's receipts to fall flat. Do I think Phaedra did it? And I'm going to stick with my opinion. I said from day one, I don't think Phaedra did it solely. I do not think that she did it and was the ringleader of it. I felt like production put her up to it to actually probably, if she did meet with this guy off camera, production covered it to make sure that someone brought it into fruition. Now, whether or not Phaedra agreed to it or not, I don't know. And I don't know if production just told that man just to show up at one of these ladies' events, which was Kelly's event. I don't know how it happened, but I feel like if anything else, I feel like they at least delivered this to Phaedra, and Phaedra probably just didn't agree to it. But I do think that it was brought to her first. That's my opinion. So, Mrs. Best, how do you feel about this situation?
I think you and everybody who thinks that Phaedra has something to do with this is thinking from a mindset that most people would think from based on her history. However, the fact that Britt Eady was in the room with Phaedra and Britt Eady openly took Phaedra's advice that Phaedra gave, I don't think this was her masterminded plan, but I do think that there were probably things in that room that were filmed, discussions that she had with Britt that we didn't see, that probably would have clarified and cleared up a lot of the potential what ifs. I just personally don't think this was Phaedra. I don't think this is something she does not have the potential to do, but just with her coming back so soon and not being there so long, I don't see her doing this. And I don't see production being desperate enough to attack Angela's marriage with all the footage they have of Charles attacking his own marriage damn near with his behavior. I don't see the need for them to be a part of embarrassing her further when her husband gave them plenty of content, you know? So I'm just never going to see it as Phaedra doing it. But I do think that Phaedra knew that this was coming, but not because of production. I feel like it was Britt because the work was sloppy. And I'm not trying to be funny. Like, if I just base things on what I've seen about Britt and remove emotions and my personal opinions on her, everything she does is sloppy. Look at her event that she had at that country club. She didn't even think to rent out a restaurant, knowing she would have all those people there. And then she only fed 6 of them. Like, Britt moves sloppy, so I can see her getting a registered sex offender to come on a television show and out somebody without any substantial proof. That has Britt's name written all over it, especially after Angela said her mouth looked like a butthole. I absolutely feel that way. This time I'm going to give Phaedra a pass, but I do think that if Phaedra stays on the show, we're going to see her do something stupid. Like, she's so smart, but sometimes the smartest people are overconfident and they don't pay attention to their own mistakes. And Phaedra gives me somebody who would do that. So I don't know. We'll see. The brother stuff fell flat too. Because if you knew that her brother would be loyal to her, then why even bring it up, Angela?
I agree. Why bring it up? Why even, try to make that the only connection when you said this is how Angela should have started this conversation? Phaedra, you single-handedly gave me that man's name, where I could find him, and all of the details surrounding who he is, which is what she said after everything else fell flat. If Angela, you should have led with that. Because had you led with that, then that may have been more of an accusation to accuse her of it better than there be some family coincidence. Like, that to me fell flat. But what didn't fall flat to me is her saying that Phaedra gave her the information. And when Phaedra said, well, he introduced himself at Kelly's event. So when they played it back, I don't even think Phaedra was paying attention until after the middle of that conversation. So that's what made me believe more so that she could have had a hand in it. And as I said, I don't think she did it solely. I just don't. I think that there's a part of it that she played in, but I don't think that it's solely that she came up with this idea. No, I don't think that at all. I think people have always had rumors about Charles, and whatever stick just fell. That's just
I think that people need to realize too is even if Phaedra did know something about it, that doesn't mean that you had a hand in anything. It's clear that she knew something about this. That's something that can't be denied. But that doesn't mean she had a part in it. But I feel like the audience is low-key hypersensitive when it comes to Phaedra, because if Phaedra is even attached to anything or knows of a rumor or any of that, it's blown up into so much more. When if it was anybody else who knew something and chose just not to say something and to stay out of it, then it would be just that. But because it's her, everybody makes it into, oh, this has her written all over it. I just want people, when it comes to Phaedra and Dr. Heavenly, respectfully to shut the fuck up. Like, it's getting old. Like, if every time she's on the show, if the audience gonna blame Phaedra for being behind every coup, every receipt, every shady person that pops up, go watch something else. Hell, if it's gonna impact people that much. But it's like we have to accept that Phaedra's gonna be here, and
I don't really care that she's here. To be honest with you, And I completely agree with what you're saying. But I don't really care that Phaedra's here. I don't. I don't care that Phaedra's here. I think she belongs on Married to Medicine, personally. I don't think she belongs on Real Housewives of Atlanta because I don't think this is the demographic of age ranges that she needs to be in because she is the eldest. So I feel like for me, I would much rather see her with people her own age on Married to Medicine because I feel like she just can't maneuver over those women the same way she can maneuver over these women. I think that that's what makes it a little bit more interesting for her on reality TV. But that was actually a question that was asked to her. Why did you skip out on the Married to Medicine reunion, but made it to this one? And she said that they didn't want her there. So she didn't felt like they needed her presence, that they would be fine. I disagreed with her. I feel like they 100% needed you there. You just didn't want to go back and forth with any of them because you knew that you were going to, especially with Dr. Jackie, because that was the person you had the biggest gripe with because she was calling you out on that charity event, and Dr. Heavenly as well. So I think you just didn't want to face them, which is fine. I wouldn't want to face them either. But at the end of the day, Phaedra, don't say that they didn't want you there because they 100% wanted you there because you were an intricate part of the second half of that season. So yeah, she can go somewhere with that. They focused a lot more on Angela's story. They did ask her about the homes. Angela did confirm that a few of the homes did go into foreclosure because directly she was going through a lot. She had suddenly had lost her mother, which rest in peace to her mother. Her mother did appear on a few episodes of the show. She said that, it was a lot going on and she just had to let it go. And that's really what it is. And with their mom, she said that her mom actually wanted her to do the show so they can both come on and talk about how much the mother has moved past her bipolar disorder. And, from there, it would have been a great segue to actually help people as well. And I feel like Angela, now I hate to do this because I understand what it's like to lose a parent. I understand that more than anybody. But Angela, you were not focused on that when your mother did come on the show and your daughter was on the show putting placement. You mentioned it, you said it, you mentioned parts of your childhood growing up with it, but you didn't give your mother the fair chance to give her side of the story and place that because you were too focused on these rumors and you were too focused on your family drama that involved your child. So I kind of felt like, I don't feel like that ever would have happened even if the mother was still living in here. I don't feel that ever would have happened. So, Mrs. Best, how did you feel about Angela talking about
I wish her condolences with her mom. That's all I've got. I mean, I think Angela will flop next season if there is a next season. So she went too hard, like you said, focus on defending this marriage. But if you go back and watch the first 4 recaps we did of this season, I did not like her because it was given she was a questionable mom herself. It did not give that she wanted to showcase and highlight her mother's mental illness. It gave that she wanted to look like the best mom possible when it looked like she wasn't. Like, let's not forget her daughter did not think to invite Angela to her wedding. The daughter felt the need to move away and out of the family's home. It's like Angela may know how to respond appropriately to women when they're having a little verbal back and forth, but I don't feel like she's authentic when it comes to her family or her marriage, if that makes sense. Like, I get that losing a parent is hard, but I feel like people will use that sometimes as an excuse for certain things, and it's not. It's unfortunate, it's sad, it's devastating, but it's not an excuse to do or not do or say certain things. So I don't know. It's weird, but I wish her the best. Anybody there? Where'd he go?
that? I'm here. Hang on one second. I'm getting a call from my adjuster. One second, y'all. I'm so sorry about that, y'all. I have to get this taken care of because this is important. But and I'm sorry, I did miss a lot of what you said, but I trust with every ounce of your opinion. So we'll move forward with everything that's going on there with Angela. Um, One of the situations that we also had talked about, yeah, we did see the news, and I really, I really don't want to talk about this in this live because that's a very sad topic. Because I did love his character on that show, I did love what he represented, and I am sad about it. And it's a shame that we can't reference the Cosby Show in the same way we would have because of what's going on or what had went on with Bill Cosby.
The
So it's
Black community is still very much so referencing and claiming the Cosby Show.
we are absolutely, but not all of us are.
I ain't met
So
one yet, but
I have come to Phoenix. Come to Phoenix. Yeah. Yes. And I'm sorry, y'all, for being on hold. I really am. I'm trying to get this squared away and everything and trying to make sure these people call it the most inconvenient time ever. So, but now that I think that's the last call we get today. So now that we're going to move on from there, we get a conversation about um, Shamia and Drew and their back and forth and how, Shamia shaded her music on who was it, Big Tigger's radio show? Somebody's radio show. She was shading that music. And Shamia is insistent that she did not shade her. She was just saying that Drew speaks 5 languages, and that's not true. And Drew said that it was love languages that she said that she speaks. And she said, well, Drew, that's not what the informant said of the information of your song. It says that you speak 5 languages. And Drew's like, no, it never did. And then Drew pulls out the actual book, which I thought was hilarious. She said, this is the actual book right here. So if you want it, and Kelly, I just said, I need the book. Give it here. I was hollering. I said, not y'all housewives need to stop with these props. And Shamia's point is that Drew lies a lot. And Drew's like, well, what did I lie about? And then she gonna say, name them. I said, not you using Sutton's tagline. Mrs. Smith, did you catch that? When she said, name them.
I don't think she intentionally said it that way. I didn't catch it that way. But if she did, I mean, good for her for watching. But Drew, you do be lying.
She do. And that's what I want Drew to understand. Drew. maybe it's her truth in her. Maybe she wants to see the outcome that way. That's why she doesn't see it as a lie. I'm trying to rationalize with Drew the best way I can because she says it with a straight face, like I didn't lie. And thank you, Shani. I appreciate you because I know I caught that. I was like, wait a minute, not you doing the country name them. But anyways, yeah, Drew lies a lot, y'all. Drew, I'm sorry, she does. Drew lies. We all know she lied. But the problem with Drew is Drew doesn't think she lies. So I'm trying to figure out how we gonna fix this with Drew because if Drew keep coming back with this shit, we can't.
Drew knows she lies. Every liar knows they're lying. She just doesn't care to admit that she's lying because she's, what is she, a Taurus too? Bullheaded, lies. That's what they do.
She a main Taurus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
April ones do the same thing too. I'm trying to tell you. So I'm looking at Drew and I'm like, the problem is she forgets that there's a camera that is following and recording her lie in real time. That they have no problem referencing back. This is why the new housewives don't give, like you said, props and lies. What's the point? And deflection. All these heifers need to be fired.
I agree. All these heifers need to be fired. I need new heifers. I need all new heifers. I need 6 new heifers. And I'm not trying to degrade them by calling them heifers, but I'm just saying. I'm just following my best friend here. I just need 6 new ones. So, I don't think they forget it. I just think they use it when it's convenient for them to use it. Like I do. I don't think that they forget. I just think intentionally what they do is they try to figure out to maneuver it where it benefits them. Like, oh, Drew said this about me. Well, Drew be lying. Or Drew, I caught you in this. You know you be lying. Like, it's just, I think they used it to conveniently misplace like any fault that they would have in the situation and place it on Drew. I think that's why Drew catch a lot of heat because they could
I don't know
easily put
why
on her
Drew was
face.
in the last chair fighting for her life, having to lean forward to address everybody. When
Right.
we know the reality of the situation is that Portia should not have been in that first chair. I personally just don't feel like she should have been in the first chair. And
We all know that.
Shamia, I was on the fence about, but I guess it kind of makes sense. But I feel like Drew and Shamia made sense for first chair. The fact that Portia's there just shows that the Bravo's focused on favoritism instead of actually improving and saving the show.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I felt like Drew definitely did not need to be last chair. If anything, if Drew couldn't have the first chair because they wanted to, glorify Portia, then she should have had that second chair where Phaedra was sitting. There's no way Phaedra should have been like there. Phaedra should have been all the way in the back behind Cynthia if we really want to keep it together. But that's neither here nor there for me because I don't make up this stuff. They do the craziest seating charts ever on Real Housewives reunions. It then comes up about the situation with Kenya and Britt and how their circumstances. Kenya has wrote two statements. I'm not going to go over all of them, but basically saying that she definitely regrets exposing that information and that she owes everyone an apology, including Brittany, and that she hopes to see them on Bravo real soon. And Britt wrote, that comment about the pictures not really being her and that, overall, she definitely is going to take some type of action. Of course, it was something, that statement she put out that was stupid, but basically she was saying the photos weren't even her. So what are we, and so once again, this was Andy's moment for him to apologize publicly to Kenya Moore. Because from what we understand, there was an investigation done on both parts. Whether or not Britt had a gun that night, and then whether or not, those pictures really were Britt and everything. And so Portia speaks up. She goes, I talked to Kenya, and Kenya said that it was a Real Housewife current that gave her that information. And so they asked, well, who gave her the information? And she said, well, it was Drew. Now, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually believe Portia. And let me tell you why I believe Portia. There was a scene between Britt and Drew where Drew asked her a question about the guy because she said she knew the guy in the photo. But keep in mind, Britt just said that wasn't her. So I do think that Drew supplied the information thinking that the girl in the picture was Britt, but it actually wasn't because she knew the guy. So I do think that based on that table conversation, Mrs. Best, do you remember that table conversation between Britt and Drew?
Yes, and we also have to remember that Britt and Drew did not. First of all, Britt didn't start off on a good foot with anybody except Kelly. So, but Britt and Drew did have like a slight issue that seemed like it could have turned to more had we not been interrupted by Kenya's foolery.
Right.
So I definitely can see it. I actually believed Portia, and I haven't believed anything Portia has said since before she married Simon, since before she even thought of him, since before Dennis. When Portia said she didn't understand the Underground Railroad, at that moment I knew this is a Black woman that's probably going to blow up for her stupidity and then think that we forgot about it. So I don't buy nothing she said, but for some reason when she said this, I do actually believe her. And I did see Portia try to take a different approach at this reunion because it wasn't approach because it was something planned. But she did seem to be trying to come at people with some type of fake accountability, actual facts and receipts instead of just alleging BS that Portia used to do. She used to just come to reunions and say stupid shit. But I actually think I believe her. Plus, the way Drew looked, if you look at Drew's face, when certain stuff is said on the camera, the way her titties look like they want to escape in this graphic that's up on our screen right now, I believe it. And I believe Drew is tired of people messing with her and was probably looking for ways to get back at people. I believe it.
I believed it as well. Another thing that was also said as well is because Drew immediately denied that she was the person that did it. And I'm like, Drew, okay, we can't believe you because you lie. So unfortunately, what else do we have to go off of? I know that Kenya on her YouTube channel denied, or on Instagram, it was something, I think it was IG. She denied what Portia was saying. That she did not tell Portia and that she had an investigator, which is the same thing that Drew said. But the problem is that Drew, I would have believed you had you not had that conversation with Britt. Had you not had that conversation with Britt, I would have immediately believed you. That I believed that Portia was full of shit. But because you did have that conversation and you said that you knew the guy, I do think you supplied that information. Not so much the pictures. I'm not saying she supplied King of the pictures. I'm saying the information of who the guy could have been, and the guy probably supplied King with that information. Because that's very random that a public investigator, even though Britt has done, porn and had a script off the internet and everything like that, you don't know who has access to what, and you don't know who kept what. So I don't know. It's just a weird circumstance. It is really strange. But Britt denied it being her. So when you deny it being you, basically you use all credibility. That if it was you or was not you, why does it matter now?
My
Someone was
thing
given
is
information.
too, I'm just really annoyed with Britt for even coming out and saying that the photos were not her. If you know that the photos were not you and you're threatening to sue the network for portraying it to be you and things like that, then why would you not be shouting from the rooftops that it wasn't you in the photos? Because I'm sure after this whole thing happened and the decision to suspend Kenya for the rest of the season, I have a feeling that production may have offered her, or Britt had the opportunity to see what was shown at the event, even though she was not there, even if it was on footage. So it's very strange how she decided to move, because I had thought about that yesterday while watching when they were discussing her. Like, I would be shouting it from the rooftops, like, this is not me, or fighting to see the photo after hearing what Kelly told me if I was Britt in that scene. So they hired another criminal, child.
But did she wind up showing her breasts on Bravo?
Willingly.
Willingly. That's
You
why I'm
showed
saying I
yourself
feel
naked
like
doing porn. So you already put yourself and painted yourself in a light. She had a reputation prior to being on Bravo, and this is her first season. Most of her reputation isn't based on what people saw on one season of a show. It's based off of what they knew about her being a pass around in the industry hoe. I'm just saying.
I agree. And then also what we have to understand is that kind of forms the credibility that she's trying to fight with, saying that Bravo, this is a stipulation clause that if you show something that's out of my character, then I'm going to proceed forward with the lawsuit. But ma'am, if you show your titties on national TV without anyone telling you to do so, then that's not them showing you out of character. That means you're willing to take your top off while you're intoxicated for whatever reason. So I just want people to be clear about that, because she did file a stipulation about that. And then some weeks later, we see an episode almost to the finale. You showed your whole naked body. Apparently, it was her whole naked body. It wasn't just her titties. That's just all we saw. So, yeah, I don't think she would have like this lawsuit. I don't think this lawsuit is going to go anywhere. I think she
Of course not. If an attorney, and you were interested in law, I've got lawyers in my family also.
Right.
And one thing that's true about attorneys such as the one Britt would need to hire for a case like this, if they thought they had a case, they're going to fight like hell to actually file the suit instead of warning of filing the suit. Like, girl, they probably told you didn't have a case. It was like, okay, well, here's your other option. You could do this. And I feel like her dumb ass probably took the second option, because this don't even make sense.
Shady. Okay. So the last thing I'm gonna talk about, because as I said, they really didn't talk about much on this reunion. Is Portia and Shamia. This is the introduction into their spat, which I hope does not go forward. Oh yes, the men showed up. Yes, Dennis, Ralph, Charles Oakley. Those are the only three that showed up. Fine. I'm not going to go through that because we haven't seen them on the actual live stage yet. So I'm not going to mention them until next week or when I get back. So we have this unfortunate talk with Portia and Shamia, and Andy asked a question: where do your friendships stand? They both said that the friendship we have not talked, we have not done anything. And it's really sad because Portia said that her intention was to make amends with everybody. And, if Shamia just sitting there just quiet and everything. And I was looking at Shamia like, see, this is your chance to stand from and just stand up for yourself. But you just sitting there, just letting her have it. Like she did after she was pushed to no point. But they then talk about her issue with Phaedra because Phaedra is coming back to the show. And she said that one of the issues that she had with Portia is that she let Phaedra pretty much smear her whole reputation by saying that she sleeps with married men and the infidelity rumors about her sleeping with Candy and Todd. And so they do a flashback of Phaedra saying it. And Phaedra was like, but we got past that, Shamia. We had a conversation. I had called you and told you, girl, I'm coming back to the show. If you want to have a conversation off camera, we can do so. And we did. And you told me you didn't have an issue with that. And then you go on to do interviews saying that, you have an issue with, me accusing you of infidelity. But I thought we had squashed it. And she said, we're fine now. We're fine now. She goes, okay, but in your interviews, you didn't make it seem like that way. And then Cynthia chimes in and goes, yes, Shamia, you can't do that. You can't say that you're good off camera. And then when you get in your interviews and stuff saying that you still currently were feeling some way about Phaedra, that's not fair to her. I'm looking at Cynthia and I'm looking at Phaedra. Though they are correct, it's annoying. And let me tell you why it's annoying for me. It's annoying because at the end of the day, though Phaedra apologized, and though Phaedra had a conversation with her off camera and was forgiven for it and everything of that sort, like Phaedra did with Kenya Moore, and this is how I'm gonna reference this. Like she did with Kenya Moore. Yeah, I forgave you, but that doesn't take away what you did. That's what she said to Kenya Moore when she forgave Kenya about the Apollo thing and decided to bring it back up and say that you were speaking negatively on my marriage and you were part of why my marriage was destroyed. You had a part in it. So Phaedra, she really just took a page out of your book. So it's funny hearing that come out of Phaedra's mouth when you have done the exact same thing on this exact same show. And I know y'all like, well, James, that's in the past, that's history. It happened around the same time. The issue that Shamia is talking about, the Kenya Moore shit, all happened around the same time. So therefore, I feel like it's perfect. Mrs. West, how do you feel about the back and forth between Phaedra and Shamia really not letting go what Phaedra did?
Shamia was wrong. I've been saying from the moment that Shamia was announced to be a housewife, I knew this shit would happen. I just knew this stuff would happen. Birds of a feather flock together. She was friends with Portia for most of her life. And not just that, they developed and became women together. So of course they're going to move in a certain way. This is some shit that Portia would do. This is some shit that Portia did actually a couple seasons ago when her and Kenya came back on and was trying to resolve the issues after having their babies. Like, this is what Portia does. She'll say that she's okay with something and then come back when it's convenient and complain about it. I personally just think that Shamia doesn't like that Phaedra and Portia are so close. Freaking frack was a thing when Shamia was in the background as the lapdog. So I feel like that's really what it is, but I don't feel like Shamia is going to have the integrity to admit that. She's just not, because she doesn't want to look bad. But that's really what it came down to, because there was no other reason to bring it up. But Shamia was wrong, and she making people have to defend Phaedra.
I'm not defending Phaedra. That's why I said Phaedra did the same shit. I said Phaedra is correct. No, and that's why I said. That's why I started with Phaedra is right. No, she's absolutely, and Cynthia are absolutely correct. However, it coming from them, I can't be a hypocrite, y'all. Phaedra has done the same shit. Phaedra has acted like she forgave a person and then turned around and said, well, no, you were a part of why my marriage had to end. And it was kind of like, well, if you forgave her and you were cool with her, then what you bringing up some shit that didn't happen 2 or 3 years ago? That doesn't make sense to me. So no, Phaedra has done the same shit. So that's why I said I'm not gonna let that go. So yeah, I understood Shamia, but Shamia was wrong. She was absolutely wrong. Phaedra was right. I'm just not gonna let Phaedra have it that easy. I'm not gonna do it because that's messed up. It then turns around to Portia saying, when they had got into it, the problem was that Shamia had a conversation with both Angela and Drew and Kelly and Britt, talking about how she was really hurt about her friendship with Portia, and it's always referenced back to her marriage. And Portia had a problem with that because she was like, we have had a great friendship after the fact that we had gotten past your marriage, your wedding, and everything, and me not coming. We got past all of that. So it would hurt my feelings that you would bring that up. And knowing that I had a medical condition, that's why I could not come back, could not come to your wedding. And I said, now, Portia, let's pause for the cause. Now, Portia, you literally said that
The world laughed at that bullshit ass medical issue. I'm just gonna say it blunt, because the
especially
state is the
Karma.
state. I remember because that was a great season of RHOA,
It was
and
a
there
great
will
season.
never be another like it. But I remember that episode because that's when a lot of the audience started to see Portia for being full of shit. Why aren't you coming to this girl's wedding? You have a leg issue, but the leg issue, talk about that's when you got your diagnosis. You had listed a bunch of other reasons outside of that leg issue. You didn't mention that leg issue until everybody held you accountable, Shamia included. And when she was dismissive of Shamia, as she always does, like we saw earlier in the season, that's when we see that little scene with Candy and them like, what? And it wasn't even Shamia that was laughing. She looked actually hurt in that scene. It was Candy and Phaedra and the other women and Carmen who were laughing at Phaedra's leg. The same way at Portia's leg. The same way they used to always laugh at Portia because as quiet as it's kept, she's a beautiful girl, but she's been a fucking joke on TV. She always used to say stupid stuff. Then she went through that strange, impulsive, violent segment. Then she was trying to have babies with whatever man she could pull. Portia used to be laughed at on that show. So it's like, oh, you want to forget that to be mad at the person who was writing for you back when everybody laughed at you and looked at you like a dumbass.
And I think that's the point that she's missing. That's a great point to bring up because that's what she's missing. She's missing the fact that this lady, even with all of them laughing at you throughout all of the shit that you had did, that was the one person who actually still rode for you and was like, look, that's still my friend at the end of the day. That's still my best friend. I'm not going to go at it with y'all. I'm not going to entertain y'all. I think the only time Shamia, I would say, did not stand up for Portia was at that night at Candy's house where Candy was coming back to tell them the conversation she had with Portia and how Portia accused her of having a sex dungeon. And everyone's like, well, where is it? Let me see. Shamia was the main one getting up to see where it was, like joking.
That's true.
I think that was the only time I can really pinpoint Shamia not having Portia's back was that one time. Other than that, Shamia has worked hard for Portia and looked real stupid doing it too, because Portia wouldn't do the same for her.
And it's crazy because all Shamia needed to say throughout this whole like segment talking to Portia really was, my nickname professionally is not me being known for my talents or any of that. It's me being known as your lapdog. Right. How am I going to be known to the public as your lapdog if I have not been there for you or defended you? So it's just Portia choosing to be upset at one thing because she knows the reality of it is she is and has been not the best friend. But it was also Shamia's choice to accept that treatment and allow the friendship to go that way for so long. I truly believe people treat us the way we allow them to treat us. Absolutely. So it's like they're both wrong. And I think in their little minds, because Shamia's posting all this crazy stuff in real time on the internet right now, I think they both think like in their little minds, if they go tit for tat and like attack each other, like it's going to make for interesting TV, but it's actually sad and I don't care to see it.
It is sad and it's very sad. So it then comes up about the whole point of Shamia's wedding and not, Portia not attending, and Portia saying that she did come to the Atlanta wedding. And, we can go back and forth about what Shamia actually had here in the States versus what she had in Kenya. Listen, I'm not going to act like I understand it. I don't understand it. I feel like Portia was at something. It wasn't the wedding, but Portia, you were still wrong. I don't care how you put it. You're still wrong. If that really wasn't a wedding that Shamia had and you went to it and you didn't go to the actual wedding, you were wrong. because you should have definitely have been there if that was your best friend. Another thing that came up that I just lost my train of thought just like that. It was the wedding and what else? There was something else that I'm missing that came up in this conversation. Oh, her showing the text messages. Um, Basically, they all confirmed, Angela and Drew and Kelly, that they did see the text. Well, Kelly denied seeing text messages because she gonna have Shamia back. But Britt said she saw it, and then Angela and Drew said that yes, she's been talking about you and everything. And Portia said that I know she showed my text messages because they described to me exactly what was said in the conversation, and that was the conversation. I don't believe Portia, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. And they're going back and forth, and then they ended upon um, was it the mama thing or is that next week? Did they bring up the mama situation? I don't remember the ending part. It's all slipping.
That's next week. That's
Okay.
next week.
What did they end it on? I can't remember. I
Um,
didn't write it down because I didn't really care.
it ended with them about to go into that situation.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
They
so
didn't
basically,
quite
yeah,
get
it ends on the mama situation, the mama topic. I'm gonna tell you like this: Portia is wrong. Shamia is wrong. Where Shamia is wrong is that if you really weren't over what Portia did, you needed to have that conversation, regardless if you think Portia would have heard you or not. If she didn't hear you, then that's your answer. You need to move on. If she did hear you, then you need to let her know that there are certain boundaries she shouldn't cross. And Portia, if you really don't want to be Shamia's friend based out of whatever reason in your mind that you don't want to be her friend, then you need to let that situation go as well. And stop breadcrumbing her the way you're doing, where you're letting her think, oh, we're good, we're fine, I love you, you my best friend, he 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 he. And then when something happens, oh, I don't know her, oh, I'm quiet, I'm gonna do this. It's like you're breadcrumbing her to thinking that she has more of a relationship with you than she actually does, and that's not fair either. I think that that's very petty and very low, and that's all I'm gonna say. Is there anything else you want to add, Mrs. Best?
No, well, I guess so. The only thing I'll add is about the reunion in general. Uh, not we, but they, the cast, what do they say? They beat the hell out the point with a hammer or did something. I don't know the term. Okay. But that's what they did with this reunion. I felt like we just talked about like the same things. It was Drew's beef for what Drew did that was shady to Portia. It was very like the cast was almost segregated, like right split right down the middle. I don't like when stuff like that happens. And this was proof that we didn't need 3 parts. This episode right here. That's all.
I agree. We didn't need 3 parts of this. We just needed 1.5. One full part, and then a half to see where everybody is going to go from this point forward. And whether or not they're going to get in the next season, which I heard they're just going to start filming next month. So,
wow.
Yeah. I don't know who made the cut. I don't know who's filming with who. I don't know who's on the main cast. I don't know where it's going. But I do know that they're going to be starting to film again next month. So I'm just like, oh, perfect. So I know Portia's coming back. I know Phaedra's coming back. And this is me speculation. This is speculation. I don't know for sure they're coming back. Because Portia may be fine with her alimony check and her free rent for 3 years.
Please let her be fine with it because she was a flop and she'll never accept it. I never wanted her back. She came back, got on my nerves, and left. And then I didn't like her dress at all at the end of the reunion. Well, the back of it. Her and Phaedra need to fire their stylist.
Everybody needs to fire their stylist. I really, as I told y'all, in picture it didn't look bad, but when you got to it live, Drew was the worst dressed to me. I'm sorry, Drew was giving full Noxzema Jackson circuit 1992 Tu Wong Fu. Thank you, Julie Newmar. She was giving that. She was giving Noxzema Jackson, and I was not here for it at all because that hair was stiff. That little piece that Levi on her forehead was stiff. It was sticking out. It was annoying as hell. It's like, Drew, come on, you are way too beautiful for this. Way too beautiful for this. You need something better. And she usually didn't disappoint me in the reunions prior, so I don't understand why this one was any different. Phaedra gonna be back for at least another 2 or 3 seasons. Her contract, yeah, I know she got a guaranteed contract for a few seasons. If Phaedra was smart, this is how I know Phaedra ain't really that smart. I would go back to Married to Medicine and get double the check. I would. I would go back to Married to Medicine and get double the check. I would
Married
have.
to
I would have.
Medicine's also the show that will likely be around in 5 years compared to RHOA.
Right. I wouldn't have cut ties with that show. I would have like, no, I'm not jumping to reunion, but I'm coming back. Because I guarantee you they would take Phaedra back. If Phaedra said, hey, I'm coming back, they would come. And what they would do with Phaedra, they wouldn't bring her back into like episode 3. Like somebody gonna have a party, like Quad would have a party, and like Phaedra just magically shows up and shocks everybody. That's exactly how they would have pulled that. And I wish they would have did it. But yeah, but we'll see what happens. They got to do something next season. We got one more part to this. I'm not looking forward to it because I don't want to continue as a Portia and Shamia because I feel like they're doing enough on social media as the time goes on today. So I can't. But we'll see what happens with that. But thank you guys for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we are doing King's Court next. So I'll see you guys there. Bye-bye.